It is Monday, the 4th of September. We are Jobs2day again, and we're talking to Coenie Pieterse. He's the Managing Director at Jobs2day. Coenie, welcome, and thank you for creating some time for us.
Thank you. Thanks, Deon.
Coenie, tell us, interview time with regards to a client going, or a candidate going to a client. How important is the right behavior when it comes to a candidate going for an interview?
Well, let's start from the beginning. Any candidate who's going for an interview, the candidate needs to prepare beforehand. The candidate I would suggest, do their homework on the company that they are going to for an interview. They can do that through looking at the company's website and just being familiar of the various products or the product ranges and the services that the company offers. Getting to the interview, it's always good to get to an interview on time. I always suggest to the candidates to try and be at the client's premises 10 to 15 minutes early. Reason for that is sometimes one needs to get through security, which can at times take 10 to 15 minutes as well. It just creates a good impression when you get to the client on time. It just makes a good first impression, and first impressions are what's very important in this industry.
When a candidate has been contacted by the agency, they've gone through the process with the agency from the vetting, the interviews, getting all the documentation ready. They are sent through to the client for an interview. Do they just get sent, or is there a process of preparing them for the interview?
Well, from our side, there's most definitely, we like to prepare all our candidates for the interview. The correct way of doing it is, candidates submit their applications, whether it be online or the response to an advert in the newspaper. We then shortlist the candidates. We call them in for interviews, face-to-face interviews, where we go through their applications with them in detail. We then make sure that the candidate is the right fit to the company profile, being the job description, the duties that are expected for the candidate. And then what we do as well is not always is all information in the candidate's CV. So we run through the duties with the candidate and then make sure that everything that the candidate has experiencing, we can incorporate in their application. Once we've done all this, we then do a thorough reference check to ensure that everything is above board, and then we submit through to our clients. We generally submit our strongest 3 applicants for any position, and then it's basically up to the client to decide who they'd like to interview.
When the candidate is in the interview with the client, there's certain do's and don'ts.
Yeah.
Give us a few don'ts of what not to do during an interview.
Well, the most important thing that you don't do when getting to an interview, first impressions are important. Don't get to an interview and wear sunglasses on your head, for example, or because those first impressions is what's very, very important. A client can basically make up their mind within 30 seconds whether you're the correct fit to their company culture, whether you'll fit in. Other don'ts is, the client may say to you, do you have any questions with regards to this position? And the candidate might turn around and say, well, what salary are you offering? You might be interviewed for an administration or an engineering position, and you're already asking, would it be possible that I can grow within the company within the first 6 months? Take into account that the one step up might be the person that's actually interviewing you for the position.
How important is doing homework on the company before you go through for the interview as a candidate?
No, it's very, very important. It's a must. You can't go into an interview and expect a client to offer you a position and you sit there and you don't know anything about the company that's prepared to give you an opportunity to join their team.
Is it always necessary to wear a suit or wear a tie?
No, not necessarily. I recommend that they dress professionally and they mirror the image of the company. So if it's a very formal organization, like a legal firm of accountants, auditing firm, then I'd say yes, you could wear a smart jacket and a tie. But whether it's the more informal sector, you dress according to what the client wears on a day-to-day basis. You mirror the client.
I'm a candidate. I've gone for an interview. I felt it went very well. What is the next step? Do I wait until someone phones me?
No. What you do is, once you've completed the interview, you give feedback to the agency that sent you, given you the opportunity to present yourself to the client. What will then happen, there will be a debriefing process where the agency will ask you how the interview went, how do you feel about the interview from your side. You must remember, it's a give and take process. It's not a situation where it's only what the client can offer you. It works both ways. So it's more of an interview is more of an informative session between two parties. Both parties need to feel comfortable, and both parties need to be able to say, listen, let's take it to the next step where, it will probably get to stage of shortlisting, letter of offer, and employment.
When I've applied for a position, I've gone through the process, I've gone through the interview, and I was unsuccessful. Is that the end of it for me?
No, it's not the end of it. Look, all applications that are submitted through to us are kept on our database. We have a national database. If you are unsuccessful for a position, it is our job, our duty as an agency then to contact the candidate and say, unfortunately, you were unsuccessful for this position, and 9 times out of 10, the agent is able to give you a reason where your shortfalls were so that you can improve yourself for the next time you go for an interview. Applications, like I said, are kept on file, and should the candidate wish, we can always utilize the candidate for similar positions that arise in the near future.
We have had the opportunity where we've asked the people who's watching to send through questions, and we've got one from Santi, and she says that's an alias, it's not her own name.
Oh,
but she wants to know, she's applied for various positions through various companies, but nobody gets back to her.
Okay. Look, I think what the most frustrating part, Santi, I think for any candidate out there, the mere volumes that agencies are dealing with, it's frightening. The unemployment rate in South Africa is very, very high. There's a lot of people that are unemployed, seeking employment. There are a lot of people that are unhappy in their working environment, looking for something else. For example, Santi, if a person's looking for an office administrator position, we will advertise that on a few job boards. I will roughly get between 500 and 1,000 applications per day. So, the hit ratio, it's difficult to try and get everybody a job. As much as I'd like to, it just doesn't work that way. That's why CV presentation is very, very important. Ensure that your CV is done professionally and that it attracts the person's attention that is reading your CV.
The following question comes from Chris. He says that he's often asked for information that he'd prefer not to send through to an agency. And I presume he's talking about confidential information like his payslip and his ID.
Okay. Firstly, Chris, there are a number of agencies that out there that are reputable, that have been around for excess of 10 to 15 years. When you're dealing with a reputable agency, they will treat your application in such a manner that your confidentiality, or everything that's confidential to you, is dealt with in a professional manner. When an agent asks you, what is your current salary package, etc., can they get a copy of your payslip? This is actually done for a reason. When clients want to present an offer to a candidate, sometimes they need to move relatively quickly because if this person is not suitable financially, then they need to go on to the next one. So they need to also, be sure that you meet all the criteria, that they can make an offer to you that's not out of their budget. Things like ID number and stuff like that. I know that some companies require that because when they make offers, they like to know that is the person currently on a medical aid scheme? Do they have any if they have any dependents, so that when they do present an offer and a dummy pay slip, they can incorporate all this information to give you a very accurate breakdown of what they can offer you.
The last thing is East London, Jobs2day, and Oracle Media is in East London on Wednesday. And the first part of the day is a talk on social media, and then Jobs2day or yourself, you're doing a talk on recruitment, specialized recruitment in the afternoon.
Yes.
What can the people attending this workshop expect?
Well, it's going to be an informative session where, I can share the knowledge that I've learned over the 18 years of being in the industry, and also share market trends in the marketplace. In the employment market. I'm also going to be speaking about to candidates, prospective candidates, people that are in the job market, what they can do to be more marketable, how they can go about trying to be more systematic to their approach of trying to get the perfect position. I'll also be dealing with HR managers in East London and trying to assist them and try and bridge that gap between recruitment agent and client. They need to also understand how we operate, and just like we need to learn how they operate and how we can make each other's lives a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for, an easier approach to doing business, so that we can get to a point where we can get to an end result as quickly and as professionally as possible.
Thank you very much for your time. So you will be in East London on Wednesday, the 6th of September. The whole social media talk starts at 8:30. Unfortunately, it is full. There's no more space available, but there will be a few upcoming events and social media talks still. But thank you very much, and we're looking forward to hear what happened in East London.
Thank you very much, Deon.
Until next week, Monday, 4 o'clock, remember you can tune in, and then what will happen is we'll have another Jobs2day recruitment talk.